Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, this is a little follow-up to my previous video. You know, the one where I said about what's the worst movie studio logo ever? Who wins the award for the shittiest one? Studiocanal, of course! And I threw it open to you guys, like, what other logos do you like? What movie intros and jingles do you like? And you didn't disappoint. There's loads of things. It was said about the big bronze guy smacking the gong. Yeah, how did I forget about all that stuff? But brilliant stuff. But someone did remind me that Studiocanal, the one that I was touting as being the worst. Oh dear God, they had one earlier. How did I forget that? Because that is even worse, folks. God, it's truly diabolical. So, I'm just going to wander on over to YouTube, which is where we are right now. How weird. We're breaking the meta wall. I'm going into YouTube when I'm already on the YouTube. The powers that be. And let's just put it in. And you're going to hear this. And you'll know it because I can't believe I actually forgot about this. But here you go. Now, I have to turn it up pretty loud. Now, what it was, the intro to this is on a lot of DVDs and I think a few earlier Blu-rays. And it was like you're flying through the clouds. And oh my God, the cacophony that ensues. Because you know what they're trying to do? It's almost like they're trying to emulate the THX logo, which we're going to come on to in a bit. Oh yeah. I think just throw these things together. That was a heavy clue as to what's coming in a few minutes' time. But here is the original Studiocanal logo with the music. And you come flying through the clouds and all manner of bizarre musical notes and weirdness ensue. Oh Jesus, prepare yourself. Quiet. Now, I think that was like a shorter version, to be perfectly honest with you. But did you hear that? I'm going to play it again. I'm going to play it even louder this time. Let's do it again. But basically, it's just there's birds tweeting, there's sort of like a bellicose bullfrog farting, there's all sorts of flatulence going on, and just weird musical dissonance to try, almost like, as I say about the THX logo, which was designed, well, we'll come on to that in a bit, but basically to try and show off your sound system. So it would push out this big, huge synthesized crescendo, and it would hit a massive range of notes with a huge rush at the end. Very loud, very bombastic. But let's just do this one again anyway, and just listen to the absolute ripe old weirdness. Pure shit. I think you'll agree. Actually, you know, I'm kind of more troubled by the one I showed you yesterday, the one I played for you then, because I think that actually bugs me even more. That must be a shorter version. It must be. Anyway. Now, the other thing I was going to show you was this. Now, I was talking to my mate Dan Cryer, and you mentioned about the rather horrific Dolby Digital effect for started certain DVDs, about the sound system, the sound transfer that was going to be on the audio, and it was a helicopter flying through a bizarre sort of neon infused Las Vegas cityscape at night. Lots of gaudy colours and the horrendous rush of the rotors and the engine of this friggin' helicopter. And yeah, you're dead right, it is an absolute pain in the arse. It's horrific. But when I was talking to you, I got the wrong end of the stick, and I began to think, oh yeah, you mean the THX logo, that big, synthesized. It's called the Deep Note, and it's meant to be from a guy called, I think I've forgotten, James A. Mora, apparently created it for Lucasfilm, on the back end of sort of, I think, Return of the Jedi. People out there will know the history of this, but what I'm going to come on to is a little bit more intriguing than that. as to where it really perhaps came from, which he never really acknowledged, to my knowledge. So anyway, we'll go on to the, let's play the helicopter Dolby as well. Let's just get on that for a second. This is a damn killer as well. Fuck. I know you can't see it, but Dolby Digital lights up. And you get that scintillating sort of crystals scattering across a frozen plateau. It's shite. You can see when you do these things, because it's sort of a movie at the cinema with all the speakers there, that's going to sound great. And if you've got speakers around your movie room, you've got your subwoofer, these things are great showcases. That's what they're designed to do. And like, we've got a great sound system in that room, you know, our proper movie room. So these things come blistering out. But my point is that once you've heard them, and they're stuck on these discs, so that your disc comes on, that plays straight away. Studiocanal, you're the worst for this. That comes on right away. Then you select the movie, and you're going to go into that bloody logo all over again, and it just infuriates. Well, it does me anyway. And it makes a good talking point either, as well. So, let's go on to the THX Deep Note. Okay. Right. Okay. Okay. This is 32 seconds where. Teeth dropping out. It feels like you're in the end of Scanners and someone's blowing your mind. Now, again, I understand why that is there. It pushes, it's a sustained crescendo, a synthesized wallop of sound, which is meant to cover every sort of dynamic range and really showcase what that cinema, what its sound system is capable of doing. And obviously THX is a certification of sound and visuals. So, you know, if you got that band of authenticity, wow, you were in for a treat. But still, where did that piece of music come from? If you can call it music. And you can call it music because it came from a composer called Dana Kaproff, who in 1979 composed the awesomely suspenseful score to a film called When a Stranger Calls. Oh, yes. The great film with, oh God, what's her name? Carol Kane and Charles Durning as the detective trying to find this escaped lunatic. And the first sort of section of the movie is when the babysitter arrives at the house. The mum and dad are going to go out and they're going to go to a restaurant. And this is 1979, folks. No mobile phones or cell phones in America. And this lunatic begins to make phone calls, taunting phone calls. You know where I'm going with this. Whether you've seen the film or not, it's now become an urban legend, this sort of thing. The film itself was remade. It had its own sequel as well, which was made for TV. Had its own sequel, but it's been done a million times since. Very influential movie. And of course, this taunting phone calls, in the end, she gets the police involved. And they say, look, you've got to keep them on the line for longer because, you know, we can't put a tap on that until you've just got to keep the phone call going. And this poor girl's terrified, like, because she can't get hold of the mum and dad, you know, to come back and look after these kids. And then the voice comes through and says, have you checked on the children? And they're like, oh my God. And then the police get in touch and say, we've tapped it. We know where he is. He's in the same house as you. Whoa! The film progresses because you then have a huge section where Charles Durning, the great character after Charles Durning, is trying to track down this killer, this escaped loon, who has killed people. The film isn't nasty. It's often quoted as being a slasher film. It's not in the least, although it's massively inspired by John Carpenter's Halloween, Babysitter. What was Halloween going to be called originally? The Babysitter Murders. Da-da-da! And that urban legend of being stuck in a house and some psycho paying a visit and you've got to look after the kids at the same time. That was a short story, a short film, I should say, initially from When a Stranger Calls. And then they saw the success of Halloween in 1978, and they thought, ooh, maybe we could take our little story and make it into a bigger feature film. So that's what they did. So you have the opening sequence, the rather large sequence which I've just described. Then you have a lengthy cat and mouse game in the middle. But then you go ahead a few years, and this babysitter is now a married woman, and she's got kids of her own. And of course, the killer pays her another visit. You know, ring, 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 and all that. So, but Dana Kaproff composed the score for this movie, and there's a musical motif in this. His score is all for strings, cellos, prepared piano, which means you've got the strings set on his piano and you can hit it with hammers and all sorts of things and create huge resonance, a really horrible throbbing notes and chords, but also a lot of percussion and a lot of sort of water, vibraphones and stuff, and like very eerie sound effects. But it's a wonderful score. It's quite minimal in many ways, but it's also full of aggression, power and bombast. But he had this musical motif which appears in several cues of this. Now let's just see if you can recognize what this might be. I'll play a few different versions. I mean, it's that's one version. Let's go to this one. Have you noticed any similarities yet? No? Okay. Then we'll go to this one then. Now that is not synthesized. That, in those three, and they are different incarnations. That's not the same piece played 3 times. That's 3 different cues, and it's in it more than that as well. But that's all with strings, cellos, and just a small ensemble playing with intensity, and then driven and mixed and recorded and played close mic'd, so that it's got so much power and resonance. Now, this other guy, I keep forgetting his name, James A. Maurer, supposedly created the synthesizer crescendo, the deep note for the THX logo. Let's just go back on that, because if you're still not convinced, you soon will be. This is a synthesizer. And there's many variations of this, many, some shorter, some longer. Okay. And now we'll go back onto, I'll go on this one. Surely you can see the similarity there. There's a lot more than just similarity. That is pretty much the exact same thing, just done for synthesizer. Now, I'm willing to bet that someone out there is going to go, oh, no, Kilt-Man, actually, this Dana Kaproff character you keep talking about, this composer, it came out before that. You had the likes of the Beatles did that as well. You had the likes of, I don't know, the Jacksons did it. I don't know. You're going to have someone saying that, no. Other people have done this sort of thing. It is just a huge sustained crescendo, which builds up to a massive final note wave, which then is sustained even longer of power. I know. Bound to be there somewhere else. But I know from this, great film by the way, absolutely wonderful film. The sequel, not so much. The sequel was made for TV, and even though I said before, it's When a Stranger Calls, it's often touted as being a proto-slasher. Well, Halloween came out the year before, a slasher film. Psycho came out in 1960, and you know, and Mario Bava was doing this sort of stuff earlier than that. So the slasher movies already existed, and When a Stranger Calls is very definitely not a slasher movie. There's no blood in it. I think you might see a speckle of blood in a flashback scene, but that's as far as it goes. Everything happens off screen. It's not about that. It's about tension. It's about suspense, and that's a lot harder to generate in a movie. Carpenter did it with minimal violence on screen in Halloween. Created suspense. It always comes back to you, to Michael Myers, doesn't it? Always, always. But listen, gongs and vibraphone and waterphone. Listen. But it's this long, sustained, dragged out. The strings are played to within an absolute, a micro-millimetre of their lives. Can you imagine that, you know, on the boat, just slowly, icily dragging it across the strings. It's absolutely gorgeous score, very suspenseful. In fact, all today while I was working, I was playing this music in the background. As you do, gets you right in the mood. But one more time, folks. We'll go on the logo again. Oh, helps if you turn that bit off. Well, then again, can you tell the difference? I can't deny the power of this in a cinema. The whole floor, your ribs shake. You know, your colon begins to loosen. Everything's trying to get out of your body. You're just driven out. Yeah, I know. But at the same time, it was done just with strings and a small ensemble of players. Now you imagine hearing that when you first watched that movie at the Flicks, 1979. You've been wowed by Halloween the year before. You've been blown away by Alien in 79 as well, and John Badham's Dracula, and all of a sudden you get this, a low-key, slow burn, massively suspenseful drama. And everyone, you know, a lone woman, a lone girl looking after kids, and a deranged psycho. And a terrific score to embellish it all. Folks, I just wanted to bring that to your attention because the discussion went on a bit after the last video, and I thought there's more here. And there is. There's many more logos and intros and jingles we can discuss, but we're going to be here all bloody day. I've got more to do. I've got to open this, folks. Yeah, our old friend Steve 007 Smith has sent another mystery package. Shh. I know what it is. His clue was great this time, and it threw me, and then I got it. And I'll tell you when in the video when I open this, which will be in the next few minutes. I know. But folks, in the meantime, and this sort of bizarre synth and string ensemble sustained crescendo in between time. A happy though, shall be Kilt-Man. Please be happy, be healthy. Listen out to music, listen out in movies. I bang on about scores and movie soundtracks all the time. But without a doubt, a huge amount of a movie's power comes from what the composer brings to it, and the orchestra, or the keyboards, the synthesizers. Alright, I've bigged you up enough as it is. Stop blowing the roof off the place. Folks, I'll see you all opening that box